This man never could have imagined that after selling the Saintess to a neighboring kingdom, it took only 2 days for massive numbers of monsters to begin appearing throughout his own kingdom, even threatening the nation's very survival. Meanwhile, the neighboring kingdom had struck gold, because Jenny was already the strongest Saintess in history, and not by just a little. Other Saintesses needed several days just to set up a single barrier, but when it came to Jenny, she could create dozens of them in a single day. Just moments earlier, Jenny had sensed the presence of a large number of monsters, so she first offered a prayer to the gods, then created numerous holy light pillars to serve as supports for barriers. A single barrier required at least 4 pillars, placed in the north, south, east, and west. The more pillars there were, the stronger the barrier became. For an average Saintess, creating just one holy light pillar could take several hours or even more than 10 hours. The process consumed enormous amounts of mental energy, stamina, and magic power. Being able to create one pillar in a day was already considered impressive. That was why bodyguards were always needed to protect a Saintess. But before the steward could even finish explaining, Jenny had already completed her first holy light pillar. The steward was utterly shocked by what he saw. After all, how much time had even passed? What happened next completely shattered his understanding of the world. The northern region required 8 pillars, and Jenny finished all of them before noon. The entire forest became vibrant and full of life once again. The two of them thought it was finally time to call it a day. But Jenny said she wanted to continue investigating the local ecosystem, and also planned to set up the same barrier in the western mountain range. It wasn't until the early hours of the morning that the group finally returned to the estate. Looking back on everything that had happened that day, the two attendants were still in disbelief, because Jenny had worked non-stop the entire day. If the steward and the maid Anna hadn't begged her in tears to stop working, Jenny wouldn't have wanted to leave at all. At the same time, Jenny's former kingdom had fallen into a massive crisis. Ever since Jenny left, monsters had begun appearing non-stop throughout the surrounding areas. Yet despite the situation, the extermination squads continued slacking off as usual, because they had become accustomed to the days when Jenny handled everything. What they didn't know was that their strongest Saintess had already been sold away. Although her younger sister Lucy was also a Saintess, and was quite powerful herself, Jenny's sudden disappearance made it impossible for her to focus. The truth was that the prince and their parents had never told Lucy what really happened. They only claimed that Jenny had willingly gone to the neighboring kingdom, but Lucy had always admired her older sister Jenny. You could even say she was completely attached to her sister. She knew Jenny would never leave without saying a word, so someone had to be pulling strings behind the scenes. Lucy swore to herself that once she discovered who was responsible for separating the two sisters, she would make that person deeply regret it for the rest of their life.